Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to our session. My name is Liz Moya. I am part of the Train PD team and I am accompanied here by my co-host.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We are so glad that you are here with us today, and we are excited that you chose to spend 75 minutes with us today, given there are so many awesome sessions to choose from. So we're going to get started, but before actually we get started, I want to ask all of you to let us know, or actually to answer a question for us. So using your reaction buttons, your Zoom reaction buttons, we would like to know if you were able to access and download the PowerPoint presentation for today that we provided for you, and also the PBS Learning Media resource sheet. And I'm seeing a lot of check marks, so thank you. Green check marks. I don't care which one you use. Awesome. Exactly. Good. We have loaded them for you. So when we're done and you have to go back and review something, you're going to have those for you. Okay. So I'm so glad to know that you did that. So we're going to get started. And again, Liz and I are excited to be with you. We have both been in adult education in a variety of roles for, I think, for both of us, 20 years. And so, this subject is near and dear to our hearts, and I'm just glad that I'm doing this with Liz today. So, okay, let's get started.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We want to know a little bit about you. So thank you, Rory, for posting that. If you could please answer, what is your role in adult education and literacy? So go ahead and select one of those items, please. We'll give you a couple of seconds. Oh, everybody's fast and furious responding.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Okay, a couple more seconds. I think we've stopped, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the poll. Nice, and we're going to share those results. So we do have here, I'd say about half of you are teachers. And then we have a mixture of, leadership team and then other. I'm curious to know what the other is. If you could please post those who selected other, post that in the chat pod. And that way we can customize some of our responses for you during our presentation. So thank you for that.
Yep, and before Olga and I forget, we do see some familiar faces of people that were logged in, so we want to thank you. We have our esteemed colleague that's joined us today, Dr. Olga Escamilla. She is here with us as well, so thank you. And I'm curious to know in the chat pod if there's anybody joining us from Oklahoma. I think this was open to people from Oklahoma. I'm not sure, but if there's anybody from out of state joining us today, let us know that too. And then maybe Olga, you can, or Liz, you can share with me what the answers were. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the results.
We do have here one participant that I see that is from Oklahoma. So Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to visit Oklahoma one day. I have not been to Oklahoma yet, but I want to go. All right, so let's keep going, and let's focus in on our objectives. So the first objective is the reason Liz and I wanted to share PBS Learning Media with you. As you listen to this session today, we challenge you to think about how you plan to share this digital resource with your colleagues and your students. And I want you to think about 3 questions. How can you share the resources with your students so they can continue learning on their own? So that's always an option with this site. How can you integrate the lesson ideas into your virtual or face-to-face classroom with your students? Because we know virtual learning, virtual classes are our new reality, right? Our new norm. So how can you use this site when you present a virtual class? And then finally, can you assign part of the lesson or lessons we'll show you today as homework before you meet with your students in a virtual classroom or face-to-face. So more of that flipping the classroom, all right? And then we have our second objective, which is to understand how to use the site components to locate instructional materials for standards-based lessons. Now, standards can be the Texas Standards 2.0, our own Texas standards. It can also be the Common Core national standards and other national standards, because you will see that the lessons on this site will share with you what standard they're aligned to. And then finally, we're going to dig in to the teacher dashboard tools. All right. So our webinar agenda, we're going to help you sign up for an account, and that is actually coming next. You are going to be able to recognize content areas, how you search. You're going to be able to find different types of content and learn how to save content. And you will learn to love your teacher dashboard and the dashboard tools. All right. So I do want to share with you what we're not going to discuss. I have been working with this site, believe it or not, for over 1.5 years. And what I have found is you do have the option to create online classes, assign assignments to students. I feel that that is the clunkiest part of this website, all right? So we're not going to talk about creating classes or assigning assignments, all right? Grading the assignments can be a little difficult, so I've saved you that frustration. We're gonna use this as a way to find content for you, all right? So I wanted to address what we're not gonna cover today. And at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Liz.
Thank you so much. Okay, and so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start with a little activity, but I do want to locate that activity here so that you're able to see it. And okay. All right, so we're going to start off with an interactive segment, but first I want to guide you on how to open a new tab without closing our webinar session, because we don't want you to get lost, right? So what you're going to do is simply click on the Escape tab on your keyboard, then look at your screen at the top right-hand corner. Click on the Exit Full Screen. This will allow you to open or view your Windows tabs. Then go ahead and click the plus sign to open a new window, okay? And that's what we're going to go ahead and do. And so now that you've opened a new window, I'm going to go ahead and show you the website that we're going to be visiting. And it's the, let me see here. All right, and so now you can see my website, correct? This is the menti.com. And for this website, we want to know a simple question. Where do you typically find some of the content for your classroom? You can have the choice of either logging into the link, or you can, let's see here, you can go ahead and use that code at the very top. So go ahead and type menti.com and then enter the code that you see so you could place your responses. And I'm looking at the chat pod to ensure that everyone's doing okay.
And Liz, I will monitor
ma'am.
the chat pod for you too, okay?
Thank you. So
You're
I'm just
welcome.
waiting to see for people to place their responses. I don't see any responses yet, so I'm beginning to think that either folks cannot enter the site.
Okay, let us know if you're having any difficulty so that we can help you.
So once again, I'm going to show you how to do that.
Okay, do we need to put the link in the chat pod?
We could, yeah, that would be good. So,
Okay, I'll
so
grab
they
it.
can hear me, but they can't see me. Okay, let's see here. Let me put the slide once again, the PowerPoint, just so you could see. And
I put the link in the chat pod, everybody. Okay, and actually we turned our cameras off so you can't see us right now because we don't want to crash the room.
okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to ask you to go ahead, if you're having issues with a Mentimeter, if you can go ahead and just place it in the chat pod. What is it that, where do you typically find your content from? So I do see someone in the chat pod putting YouTube, Burlington English. And then the question is, what is a number? So the number is up here at the top, 956759. That's the code. So it's 956759. Let's see, I do see people are posting. There we go. Okay, can you see these responses, Annemarie?
No, we just see the PowerPoint. You need to share. There you go. Now we can see it. Excellent.
Beautiful. And so we see online, free websites on the internet, Pearson, newspapers online, Google search, YouTube, Minnesota literacy. That's a really good one. An ISL collective, lots of Googles, and teachers use lots of resources. USA Learn, so lots of wonderful responses. Thank you so much. Yay, I'm just so happy that everyone was able to log in and use this.
Yay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I keep those responses coming, and we're gonna go ahead and collect those. And now, let's see here. Annemarie, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so here we go. All right, so Liz, help me out real quick before I explain this slide. So what were some of the things that people were using? I remember Actively Learn, because that's a great one. That's a great place to create content. Google, what else did people share?
Lots of Google, GD study guides, TED Ed on YouTube, ReadWorks,
Very
ESL
good.
Lab, Voice of America, Pearson, let's see, Train PD Portal. Whoop, whoop.
Okay, hey, awesome. Okay, good. All right, so these are all wonderful. But one thing I noticed with the theme of those things is, other than I know Minnesota Literacy Council was one of them, you still have to kind of dig around for lesson plans, don't you? So those are places you go. I'm very familiar with ReadWorks. Common Lit is another great one. So these are all places you go to find content, but let's explain how PBS Learning Media will help you with that. So PBS Learning Media has curated and made available thousands, or I should say not thousands, well, there possibly could be, thousands of resource materials which originate from PBS documentaries, historical miniseries, award-winning videos from PBS, and other educational websites, as well as permission for you to live stream specific videos that you couldn't otherwise access because of the strict copyright. But because it's through PBS, you can do that. So here's my analogy for what PBS Learning Media is. The site is nothing more than a ginormous digital resource library with many floors packed full of lesson plans and other materials to use when you develop your Standards 2.0 lessons if you're in Texas, or some other type of standard-based lesson. That is why we asked you the question, where do you find material, or where do you go for resources? Now, what's cool about this site is that just like a library, that once you get in and you investigate and you explore and you look at the supplemental materials, you are going to find other amazing websites with more potential lesson materials. So just like a brick and mortar library or a digital library, one resource leads to another resource, which leads to another resource. And Liz and I are going to keep going back to that analogy in the next hour or so. All right, so let's move on and see if you are ready to create an account. So I'm going to pause share. Liz, take it away.
Okay, so you let me know you could see the screen, correct? You can
Yes,
see
I
the
can.
presentation
Yep.
slide?
And I'm
Okay.
going to answer this question really quick because it's a very important one. Ann B, thank you for asking this. This is all absolutely free.
Yes,
Okay.
we're all about free stuff.
Yeah, this is free, and everything that you find is also going to be, most of what I've seen is free. Okay, Liz, thank you.
Oh, somehow I went backwards. Okay, here we go. So what I'm going to ask you to do is using the same function as before, you're going to exit from the full screen, open up a new tab by clicking on that plus sign. If you feel comfortable, you don't have to do it at the same time. If you don't feel that comfortable, you could always do it later. But this is the website. It is pbslearningmedia.org. And then Annemarie will place that in the chat so that you could follow along. And what we're going to ask you to do is create an account. Again, you could do it now or you could do it later. But one of the great things that I like is that you can create an account using an already existing account like Google, Facebook, or of course your email. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the live site looks like so that we could visit that. And let's see here. Okay, and so I am at the live site now, and on the upper right hand corner, you're going to click sign in. I'm going to use my email because I already have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and log in, but it's all you have to do is just put your name, your email, and your password, and you're good to go. And then once you do that, of course, because it's live, there we go. Maybe if I slow down, right? Okay, there we go. Once you create your account, you're in. They don't ask you any other type of demographic information. So if you could please put in the chat pod, if you can confirm whether or not you currently have an account. If not, it doesn't take that very long to create one, but like I said, you could do it after the presentation, okay?
And I have found that if you have a Google account, that's the easiest way. I used my Gmail account. So one of the options is to use your Gmail account. Yes, Lori Troja, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I'm not. You can use your Google account. And yes, you can use Google Classroom, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So you can, yes, link this to Google Classroom. Okay, good. Ann B says she's in. Wonderful. Woohoo! All right, good. Okay, Liz, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. So if you want to share the site.
Okay, so we're going to continue, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so. All right. So now that we have, most of you have created an account, we want to talk about searching for content. And let me take a step back and say this, that after this is over, Liz and I are available to you via email if you have questions, okay? So we're not going to disappear. You can reach out to us, all right? And again, just to clarify, this is a free site. So why do we visit PBS Learning Media? We visit PBS Learning Media to search for content. So I encourage you to take some time each week and search for content on the site. And some of my greatest discoveries have come from choosing different subjects, which I'm going to explain here in a minute, clicking on a resource and finding that there were other hidden lesson ideas in the support ideas. So on your main screen, once you create your account, you're going to see that there are these broad filter options, and you can search by subject, grade level, or standard. Now, when you search by subject, you have a variety of options. You can search math, ELA, English language arts, social studies, science, digital media literacy, and others. We're going to focus on the core subjects in a minute. Now, also, once you create an account, you are going to be able to benefit from free professional development opportunities. On the main screen of the website, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can sign up for a teacher newsletter. And they have these free webinars that you can sign up for. Some of the professional development is not free, so you have to watch that, but many of their webinars are, all right? So let's look at your different subjects. And we are going to go out to the site once I get through these first few slides. So once I click on the subject, which was right here, I will see all these different main subjects come up. And under each subject, you can see that there are these sub areas. So let's look at ELA. Underneath ELA, you could search by literature, informational text, reading foundational skills, ELA writing. Look at all of this. How many of you are getting a little excited right now to see all these different ways that you can search? Paula, thank you. All right, so you can search for these ELA. Now we're going to dig into the filter options, all right? So I'm going to click on English Language Arts, and I'm going to see this screen. So once you decide on a subject area you want to explore, it is important to realize you can filter by content type right here to find a multitude of resources to share with your students or to build several lessons. Now you can see that I must have clicked on life science, and here's life science, and then under life science you've got all these different topics again. And under the type, you can search a video, an interactive lesson, a lesson plan, an image, a collection, etc. All right? Depending on the type of resource, you will more than likely be able to download the lesson plan, export the lesson plan to Google Classroom, or save it to your favorites on your account. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But some of the videos actually you won't be able to download based on what we talked about before, which is you'll only be able to live stream it because of copyright protections. But it's still pretty cool to be able to live stream a video in a live Zoom class that you may be holding with your students or in the classroom to bring the world to your students. You can also filter by grade and by standard. And let's talk about the grades for a minute. All right, now depending on your class, you can maybe start, if you know your students are maybe working at a 5th grade, 6th grade level, 7th grade level, you can filter by grade level, see what you get, and then do your due diligence and make sure that the content is appropriate for your adult learners, just like with everything else, right? Because this is a K through 12 resource, you're going to get pre-K all the way to after high school. And so you have to just kind of review it. All right. So now that I've talked about the filter options, I want to zero in on content for ELA. I was a teacher in the classroom for 11 years. I taught ABE and GED and high school completion, and I taught a lot of ELA, and a lot of my kids, a lot of my students had special needs, learning disabilities. So I was really interested in English language arts to see what they had. And what I did was I looked at the sub area for informational text. So here is the informational text, and how I searched was I started on the main screen and I chose my subject, clicked on subject, then I clicked on English language arts, and I'm going to focus on the sub area of informational text. When I was teaching, comprehending various types of informational text always gave my students difficulty. Using your reaction buttons, your red, your green check mark, or your red no mark, tell me if you agree. Is informational text difficult for your students? And Liz, let me know how we're doing in the chat pod here.
Okay, so we're still looking for responses. I don't see anyone yet, but I think they're trying to find out the reaction buttons. So Marilyn says yes, lots of hands going up now.
Good, good.
And then in the chat, we also have some yes. Thank you, Delia. So lots of hands raised, no X's as of yet,
Okay.
or no no's. So you're good.
Good. And informational text is also challenging for our English language learners. So this benefits them as well to look for informational text. So I took it a step farther, and I filtered for 7th grade, and then I wanted to see a lesson plan. Okay. So let's see what I found, and then I'm going to take you to the live site, and I'm going to show you what I just did. So I was interested in finding a lesson plan called Remixing a Speech by Ford's Theater, which is actually a website called Ford's Theater. And we have saved this resource for you. So it is ready to go in the folders that we shared with you. Now, when you click on a lesson plan, this is what it's going to show you. It is going to give you an overview that goes over the lesson. It's going to give you the step-by-step procedure, which will be downloadable, so you can save it or print it. It's going to give you the support materials, and it's going to give you the standard. And each one of these is a tab that you can click on, all right? So let's talk about what I have circled. The first thing is that I like this resource so much, I saved it to my favorites. And we'll show you where your favorites is on your teacher dashboard later on. And I will show you how to go, how to do that when we go to the live site, excuse me. Now, saving something to your favorites is huge. And the reason is that you may forget where you found something. And then you're going to waste a lot of time trying to go back to find that resource. And we all know there's not enough hours in the day, right, to get done what we have to get done. So save it to your favorites, and that way you can find it, and you can always delete it later on, okay? So you can also share this to your Google Classroom so you can use it with your students. And I can't remember who got really excited, but you can share this in your Google Classroom. I'm sure a lot of you did. And all right, so let's go ahead and let's go to the live site. If there's no questions, we're gonna go to the live site. So here we go, everybody. Hold on.
And while you're going to the live site, so people are asking, where can we find the lesson plan and where can we find the folder that you talked about? And so the great thing is that we have a resource file that we shared, and that's available to you at the homepage before you selected on the session. That was made available to you, but don't worry, if you can't find it or if you don't have it, you can always email either one of us. I think the going rate is $10. Is that it, Annemarie? I'm
No.
just kidding. No, it's free.
All right.
And so you could always email us at the end. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So great questions. I'm going to answer some of those right now about the lesson plans. So I kind of walked you through everything. So now we're on the live site. Can you see the live site, Liz? Everybody confirm for me in the chat box. Can you see the live site?
Yes. Yes. You can see
Okay.
it.
All right. So here I go. I'm going to walk you through from the beginning. So I'm going to go to my subject. I'm going to click on subject. I'm going to go to English Language Arts, and I'm going to click on English Language Arts. Now I'm going to go to Informational Text, and I'm going to click on that. Now this is where I'm going to put in grade 7, and I'm going to put in lesson plan. And right away on the middle of the screen here, do you see something that says remixing a speech at Ford's Theater? Let me know if you're there. Give me a green
Yes.
check mark or let me know.
Yes.
All right, here we go. So now I'm going to answer some of the great questions. Now, this is going to bring up, I was like, it better bring it up. It did. Here is that page that I showed you. So here's your overview, and you can scroll down to see the overview. Now, someone asked about the procedure. So here is your procedure, and you can actually download this. You see the export button up here? You can export this, and it will bring it up. Let's see what happens. See if you, tell me if you see this, Liz. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Right here? So guess what? Now I have it right here, and I can save it to my computer. How cool is this, everybody? I wish I could have like a drum roll or something.
No, I can hear the applause.
All right, so I'm going to hopefully not mess everything up. Am I back on the web page now?
You're on the page. Yeah, you're on the
Okay,
website.
good, good. All right, so you can export the procedure or you can print it. You can share it to your Google Classroom. And do you remember the heart down here for favorite? It's blue because I've saved it to my favorites. And I know that that was a question, and we're going to show you that in a little bit. But let's go to support materials. Now here is where you will have the option to download these things too. This particular lesson is scaffold. It has something for elementary, which could work for your lower level ESL or your beginning ABE. So there's that one. I'm going to click out and I'm going to go to teachers. Oh, excuse me. Yes, this is the secondary one, and it's a lot more advanced, but look at all these things that you're going to be able to do with your students. And I argue that you can do this in a virtual classroom if you have breakout rooms. You could have different students working with different speeches in different breakout rooms. Okay, so there's that. And then remember how I told you that one resource leads to another? Well, if I click on this, look where it takes me. It takes me to Ford's Theater. I didn't know this existed. Ford's Theater is an actual Ford's Theater, but you have all of these speeches. And look at this. And these are the speeches that you can use with your students. And you can choose what grade level you want. So here is that analogy for the digital library again. One resource leads to another. So let's X out of that and let's go back to this. Okay, so I think, are there any questions? I see a lot of activity in the chat pod. I'm jealous because I can't see anything. So Liz, tell me how we're doing.
Lots of positive comments. This is great, cool, wow, I love this, totally amazing, says Sally. This is amazing. Someone yells. So there, lots of excitement. We did have a comment that this was too fast, but I did share that we're going to model this one more time with different content. So it's okay. We're going to do this one more time.
I apologize. All right. Do we have time? Let me go back. How about that? Want me to go back real quick, Liz? Can we go back really quick?
I think that's helpful. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go back. Let me take a deep breath. I appreciate the feedback. Let's take a deep breath. And we're on the home page again. Does everybody see that we're on the home page?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my subjects. And again, you have different options. You can search by grade level and standard, but I like to go right to my subjects. So I'm going to click on, oh, go ahead, Liz.
No, and I was simply going to say, you do have that search box at the very top right-hand corner next to where it says Annemarie.
Yes.
If you're looking for something very specific, you could just simply type maps or math or whatever it is that you're looking for, but go ahead. Just want to check that out.
Excellent. Thank you. And Liz and I work together very well, so we're going to jump in whenever we think we need to. So I appreciate that, Liz. So subjects, let's click on subjects. and we're going to go to English language arts, all right? Or I could jump right to one of these sub areas, but I'm going to follow what I demonstrated before. So I'm going to click on English arts, English ELA, and you see all my sub areas again. So I am interested in informational text. So I'm going to click on that. And now I have the option to filter by type and by grade level. So I chose 7th grade, and I'm also going to choose lesson plan. So I clicked on remixing a speech at Ford's Theater, and you notice it tells you what type of content it is up here. Lesson plan, lesson plan, lesson plan. These are all lesson plans. Look at this, okay? And see more lesson plans. So if I forget to say this, I would try to get together with several colleagues and try to sit for each other and deciding where you're going to place it. Put it in your favorites, wherever you think it is. All right, Liz, can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so here we are back at the lesson plan again. And you've got overview, procedure, support materials and standards, and you have the option of exporting. So let's click on that again. And when I do that, here is my lesson plan that I can use as a teacher, and I
She's
can
pointing to
save
the
it.
bottom left-hand corner, just in case.
Thank you. Thank you. I forgot to say that. So let me X out. Once I export, what that means is it's going to download to my computer. Once I do that, it's going to pop up at the bottom of my screen, and it's going to show me that it's ready to open, which I did. I opened it up, and there it is. All right.
Well, you
So,
can't see it because you're sharing the live site.
oh, I can't. Okay. I have to. Okay. I can show. Oh, you didn't say that, Liz. Hold on a
Well,
minute.
we
Let me.
saw it the first time, just not the second time.
Huh. That's weird. Okay. Can you see it now or no?
Not yet, no.
All right, I'm going to minimize this for a minute. Hold on, everybody. Let me see if I can show you this. All right, can you see it now?
No. Yes.
Okay, there's a
Probably a
pause
delay.
there. So can you see that I downloaded the lesson plan and now I can save it to my computer? Did that help a little bit, kind of slow it down a little bit?
We
And
have
so you
lots of,
have all
thank you, thank you,
this.
thank you. Awesome, I
Oh,
got
you're
it.
welcome.
Wow.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay. I'm a
wonderful.
teacher. Yeah, I'm a teacher, you guys, so slow me down when you need me to, okay? All right. I'm a good student, I promise. I'm a good student, I promise. All right. So, all right, whoops, I lost that. Well, this was good timing because she's going to start sharing. All right. Go ahead, Liz.
Okay.
Can't. Oh, okay,
You
you're ready.
see, yeah. Okay, so you see my PowerPoint
Yes, ma'am, we do.
and you
Yep.
see it in presenter mode?
No, we did. Now we're out of presenter mode again.
Huh,
So,
okay. How's that?
yep, you're in presenter mode now.
Yay. Okay. So now we just want to show you a different type of lesson plan. So this one here that I have, it's called Digging at the Roots of Your Family Tree. And I saved this for my ESL citizenship class. You know, there's different kinds of classes. And of course, you always need to be careful for the content that you select, ensure that it's fits appropriately for your learners. But this is a really great lesson activity where the students can use a chart and a map to identify the members of their family, where they came from, and how they are connected on the family tree. And this is a lesson I typically like to do with all of my ESL learners, but this one was very, I found it very engaging. And then just as Anne-Marie demonstrated earlier, on the left-hand banner, you have the option to share to your Google Classroom. You can sign a link if you're using, let's say, Edmodo or WhatsApp or any other type of learning management system. And then if you see that little heart on the left-hand side, that means that I also saved it to my favorites, and it just makes it easier when I want to retrieve it later on. it's already saved to my profile and I don't have to go and search for it. So what I also like is what Annemarie mentioned before, is that you do have the export and print buttons. And what I like, see, I'm cheap and I'm lazy. I like things that are free, and I like things that I can reuse and borrow. So that export function allows me to save it to my lesson plans. I can attach it to my lesson plans, or if I save it as a Word document, I can copy some of the objectives and place it into my lesson plans, or even share it with some of my teachers. So that's what I really like. And then of course you do have that print function. And so now what I want to also show you is just some of the other features. In this particular lesson, it comes with access to several videos. And for ESL learners, wow, a video says 1,000 words, right? So look at all the videos that are connected to this one lesson plan. Each video is about maybe 5 to 13 minutes long. I wouldn't recommend doing all of it in one sitting, but if you select on those videos, you can even pick, because they're from different parts of the world, and based on your learners, you could say, oh, look, here's one from Cuba, or here's one from Guatemala. And then here's that chart that I was mentioning to you earlier, where your students can learn how to use graphical information as a source of reflection when they're conducting their lesson. So, and again, it's all free 99. It's free stuff. So now, oh, let me go back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you, I don't even know if we have time, but you simply model the same steps that Annemarie demonstrated earlier. And so to get to this resource, I had used the same function that Annemarie had done. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go to the live site to show you. All right, and Annemarie, let me know everyone can see the live site.
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, and so on here, what I did is on the upper kind of left-hand corner, I clicked on subjects once again, but this time I went to social studies. I click on social studies, and then I selected civics and government. Now, I'm going to be quite honest with you folks. I did this backwards. I was looking for a family tree. I used the search button on the upper right-hand corner, and I typed family tree. But I want you to be able to find the same resource if you're interested. So I'm showing you the how you can find it. So I clicked on social studies, civics and government. And then from here, I scroll down to the American political system. Okay. And I'm going to move my page down a little further. Hopefully I don't
Thank
make
you.
anyone
We can see
dizzy.
it. No.
And then at the very bottom, I click practice of American citizenship. Okay, and I still have lots of resources, just as Annemarie was mentioning earlier, lots of resources, but they're not all visible. So what I'm going to do for my ESL class, I'm going to select a 4th grade reading level, because that's maybe like a little higher than what they read. And then for the type, I selected lesson plan. And here is where I find that lesson, digging at the roots of your family tree. And so I select that. And of course, just as Annemarie mentioned, you have the overview, procedure, and standards. But look, here are the videos, all those wonderful videos. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one of them. I'm not going to play the video, but I simply just want you to see the quality that you have before you. And in this video, for my ESL learners, what I like to do is over here on the bottom right-hand corner, you have the ability to reduce the speed, which makes it easier for your students to listen. And so, of course, if you slow it down too much, then it sounds like a drawl, like you have internet issues or someone's been under the influence. So you don't want to do that, but maybe at a 50% or 3/4 of the speed. And that's what I like to do for my learners that I wanted to show you. The other thing I wanted to show you is also how to use or curate content, because we do have, as you can see, there's just lots of really great resources. So I'm going to show you a collection. And what I do here is, this is a collection that I have for my ESL for Professionals. And I'm going to go into my subjects once again. and I'm going to select health and physical education. And look right here, careers in health and physical education. Isn't that cool? I mean, how many of us are doing career exploration in the classroom? So if I select careers in health and physical education, once again, I could select the grade, but I don't want to select a grade this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to type and select collection. And under collection, I have one that's called A to Z Career Lab. And I'm going to click on that. And this collection is like lesson plans on steroids. These are all the different careers that you have under that one subject heading or that one cluster. And of course, you need to check on the grade level to see if it's appropriate, right? Because this is for adult learners, but of course, if you also teach K through 12, this is a really great resource. But I'm going to select here nurse practitioner, and then you could see the lesson plan and all the materials that are available here. So of course, if you want to save this, then you would add it to your favorites. You would click on that so you could use it later for your own materials that you want to retrieve later.
Liz,
So now, yes,
Liz, go
ma'am.
ahead and click on the favorite to make it blue so they can see it, turn it blue. And so
There you
now
go.
that's going to be saved to Liz's favorites that we're going to show you in a few minutes. And it will be the first one on the top because she just added it. So I wanted to show how now it's blue so she didn't
Yes,
lose that. Okay.
correct. And so now Annemarie is going to go ahead and share some additional content. Go ahead. Annemarie, you're muted if you're speaking.
I am. Sorry about that. I muted so that I didn't disrupt you. Okay, so let me back up. Now we're going to zero in on collections for math. And I think that Liz, you shared collections already, didn't you? Yes, you did, for ESL, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So collections is another type to search for, right? It's a type, it's a filter of the content type, which can be collections. And I wanted to share with you that I found two wonderful resources for math, and I think that they will be helpful for the students, but I think they'll also be helpful for you as a teacher if you want to brush up on some skills. So the first one is Math in the Workforce, and this I saved for you in a folder that you have access to. And just like what Liz said for ESL for professionals, this is a wonderful series that provides videos which help students understand the type of math skills they need for different professions. So we'll go there in a minute. And the next one, and I'm going to have Liz put a link in the chat pod because this is another example of how one resource leads to another resource. There is a series called Targeted Math Instruction for Adult Learners from Kentucky U. Is any of you, excuse me, familiar with that? Kentucky U. How many of you have heard about that? Let me know, green or red check mark with the reaction buttons. Liz, how many people are aware of that?
Right now, I see some no's, lots of no's. I don't see any yeses whatsoever.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
bingo.
Okay. All right. So Liz is going to put the link to Kentucky U in the chat pod for you. And as an educator, you can sign up for a free account to access all the free math lessons, including entire units and contextualized math lessons for certain industries such as healthcare. All right. Now, I would not have found this resource if I hadn't have gone to PBS Learning Media. I take that back. I did know about Kentucky U, but I think it's great that they take you there. And again, here's a resource for adult learners. All right, so let me pause share, and we're going to go back out to the live site. What time is it now? Let's move forward. Well,
it's 10:50.
It's 10:50.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, let's show this really quick. So hold on, everybody. We're going to go to the live site. And am I back on the site, Liz? Can you see the live site?
You've been on the live site.
I haven't been. You haven't seen my PowerPoint?
No, ma'am.
Oh dear. Okay.
Well, we're on the zeroing in on collections for math.
Okay, so you can see the PowerPoint. So now you can see the live site.
Yes, ma'am. You're at Ford's Theater.
All right, good. Okay, so I did want to be on the PowerPoint before, so we were in the right spot. All right, so now we're back on the live site, and we're going to go back out to the main site again, just to keep modeling what we've shown. So this time I'm going to click on the subjects, and I'm going to go to math, and I'm going to click on math. And I'm not going to check a sub area this time. I'm going to just choose a type. And I'm going to choose collections. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to click collections. Now this matches the PowerPoint screenshot I just showed you. And you can see math in the workforce, and you can see targeted instruction for adult learners. So I'm going to share with you targeted instruction for adult learners first. And is it saved to my favorites? Can someone tell me yes or no if it's saved to my favorites, and how can I tell? How do I know if I've saved this to my my favorite?
So I'm looking at the chat, and Starla says yes, blue heart. Yay! Everyone's saying yes, blue heart. Blue heart is highlighted. Yes.
Awesome. All right, good. All right, so now since it's a collection, I'm going to scroll down, and you can see all the collections. Now these are lesson plans. Do you see this? Lesson plan, lesson plan, lesson plan. Look at all of this. Look at all this. Okay, so I'm going to click on percents, because percents always gave my students spits, right? Fractions, decimals, and percents were always tricky. So I'm going to click on this, and here again you see the same thing. Overview, procedure, support materials, and standards with an export and a print option. And remember to look at your support materials. So I'm going to click on my support materials, and here, tell me if this comes up, Liz. Can you see this?
Yes,
the
you
print
can.
materials. All right. So you have to be careful here, because if you notice, there's a hyperlink here, which is going to take me to a worksheet packet right there. So if I click on that, can you see the packet or no?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So here is a packet. So you have to really be careful, just like in a library, to make sure that you click on everything to find everything. I'm going to X out of that, and and look here, it gives you the option to print right there. See that option? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to actually go back to the PowerPoint now if there aren't any questions, unless we want to see the other resource real quick. Do we want to see? Let's go back to the other math resource at the end. You're going to have that in the folder so you can look, because we want to start talking about the dashboard. Does that sound okay to everybody?
So no questions at this time.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to pause share, new share. Let's go back to, all right, Liz, am I at the PowerPoint? Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's go. Now, this was supposed to be a comprehension check, so let's stop for questions. Are there any questions? Or can we keep moving?
You can keep on moving, because
All
we've been taking the questions along the way. So.
Yep, that's awesome. All right, I like that. I hope you guys like that, because I think you need to take the questions as we go, and I hope everyone agrees with that. All right, so we've talked about searching for content. We've talked about your subjects that you can look for, how to filter. We've looked at lesson plans and we've looked at collections. So now we're going to talk about another feature that is available to you called the teacher dashboard, and we'll go to the live site in a minute. So the main dashboard provides options for saving and sharing content and developing interactive lessons for students. So we are going to focus on the top 3: favorites, folders, and tools. Favorites, folders, and tools. We are not going to talk about assignments or classes for the reasons I talked about at the beginning. Clunky interface, very difficult to grade assignments, all right? So if you want to share something with a student, you can put it in Google Classroom, or I had an excellent question in the chat pod. You can actually send the link to the student to work on the assignment. But I think putting these lessons in a LMS, Google Classroom, Canvas, course sites, Blackboard, whatever you're using, is a really good idea so that you can do like a flip the classroom model. Have them front load some of this work, and then you can talk about it in a virtual learning live classroom or face-to-face. So you've got favorites, folders, and tools. And also the main dashboard also shows all the recent activity in the teacher account, just like Facebook does if you go to your home page. All right, so when you go to your main dashboard, this is what you're going to see. And the quickest way to get to your teacher dashboard is find your name at the top right-hand corner. Once I click on my name, I'm going to see this. I'm going to see that I have the option to go to my dashboard. Once I click on my dashboard, I'm going to see what's circled over here in yellow. So I have favorites, tools, assignments, folders, and classes. Again, we're going to look at favorites, folders, and tools. All right, everybody ready to go to the site? Because I also want to show you, favorites and folders, and I just want to go to the live site and I want to show you. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to pause, share. We're going to go back to the live site. Liz, are we on the site?
I'm waiting for a pause because usually it takes a little bit, but no, not yet.
All right. Oh, I bet right here I didn't do resume share. Now you can see it,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes,
okay. All right. So now we're back on the live site, and I'm going to go up to my name up in the top upper right-hand corner. Everybody with me so far? Let me know. How we doing?
There is a comment that the dashboard is not on her drop down. And so Sally, it's by your name. There's the arrow by your name, and you click on that, and that's where you find the dashboard. So let us know if you're not able to see it. If you're not able to see it, it could be your browser. So you might want to change it to maybe Google Chrome, or if you're using Chrome, you might want to switch to another browser. That might be the issue.
Good question. Thank you for sharing that. So I've clicked on my name, and I'm going to go to dashboard. All right, everybody see the dashboard, the main dashboard. Okay, so far? All right, so
Yes.
the first thing I want to show you is my favorites. Now my favorites, I'm going to click on my favorites, and you're going to see a whole bunch of favorites. Look at this. You're going to see that I have gears and proportions, real life math, real life math for a civil engineer, all these different things. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, where do I find all this? Well, guess what? Once you save something to your favorites, you can add it to a folder by clicking on this button right here. So if you notice, if you see these favorites, do you see the folder icon right here? So it tells me that gears and proportions is already saved to the math resources folder that I've shared with all of you. So is this video. So is this video is in math resources. Look at all these things that I've shared with you. If I go to page 2, I have all these other resources. And I want to show you something. If I find something that I really like, I can save it to my favorites if it's an outside resource. Do you remember Ford's Theater from earlier this hour? Well, I took the link and I added the link and I put it in my favorites, and then I saved it to my English Language Arts resources folder for you. So you have a link to Ford's Theater now when you go to that folder. How cool is that? I have
And
to come up.
Marie, we have a comment from Delia. She says, have you ever been so excited that you feel you're going to use it on yourself? That's how I'm feeling right now.
That was me clapping, everybody. Liz and I are both very animated, so this is when it gets really hard, because I would be up in front of you like, jumping all around. So
And we do have a question though.
Yes.
And so this question is from Janine. Very great question. It says, with all the amazing resources available to teach, you both always are so knowledgeable. Oh, thank you. How much time do you spend to become comfortable enough to use all these different resources efficiently and effectively? That is my most challenging obstacle to implementing these things.
That is an excellent question. And I'm going to let Liz weigh in. I would say, I always say this with any kind of technology, any kind of tool. I would start with just maybe 1 or 2 of these lessons. So we showed you Ford's Theater. Get comfortable with that first. Get comfortable with 1 or 2 of these lessons and then expand from there. My second answer to that question is, I would use this as an opportunity to collaborate with your colleagues. Get your other colleagues working with this site so they get comfortable with some lesson plans so you can share. The third part, my third answer to that question is, relative to other digital tools I've found, this is pretty easy to learn how to use, so that help answer the question, I hope.
And I would add to what Marie said, because Anne-Marie, I agree what she has said. I would say, whatever you've done in the classroom, let's say you have a grammar activity or a listening activity, find that same or similar concept, use it in the search bar under PBS Learning Media, and see what you can find. Rather than just going rogue and finding something new, just look for the same or similar content and then find a resource and use that one resource, practice on whatever virtual platform you're using, Zoom or WebEx, practice with that and then move forward. You need to feel successful in that one lesson activity that you're using. It could be a video. And then once you feel comfortable, then you expand. You add another item. But I would agree with Anne-Marie says, and you will be successful. You just need to just do it with one thing. That's all you need to do, is add one tool at a time. And then another question says here, is there an option to have all resources in other language than English?
You know what? I am not sure about that. That is a good question that we could probably find out on the PBS Learning Media main site, and email me and I can try to see if I can find out. But I am not exactly sure of that. I bet you some of the resources will be in a different language. I can't verify that for sure, but that's an excellent question.
And I can tell you that there are some lessons that are available only in Spanish, believe it or not. So there's a lot of civics that are solely in Spanish, and then some of the videos, not all videos, some of the videos are available where you could do the closed captioning and you could subtitle it in different languages. But as far as the lesson plan and the lesson activities, I have not seen that as of yet. It's only those 2 examples where there's some specific lessons and the videos, not all videos though.
Good question. All right. Well, I want to show you the folders, how you share the folders, and then I want Liz to have time to just briefly show you some of the tools. And so I want to make sure everybody understands that when you want to add it to a folder, you have to click on it. I was going to see if I could find one that's not in a folder. Okay, here we go. Here's one that's not in a folder. All right, so let's look here. So no, this is all in okay, this video isn't in a folder. Census and Sampling, Against All Odds, Unit 16. So I want to add this to a folder. So I'm going to click here in this box. And do you see now that the add to folder is highlighted? Does everybody see that? And I'm going to click on
Yes.
that. And now I'm going to add this to I think this would probably looks like it's math. It is a math resource. So now it's saved the update. So guess what? Now the folders that we've shared with you, every time I add something to the folders that I've shared with you, you get it too, because it's a live document. And I think that's what I get the most excited about. So as my folders grow, so do your folders, because you'll be able to have access to them. All right, so let's look at the folders. Now, I have an ELA folder, a math folder, a general lesson folder, excuse me, and a math folder, all right? Math resources. Now, if I click on this, here's my link, which is what we gave you. So if I click on the link, it brings this up, and all I need to do is share this link with my student, with a student, or a colleague, or whoever you want to share it with, okay?
You could share it with a substitute teacher if someone's covering your class.
That's excellent.
You could put in your Google Classroom. There's so many things you could do.
Yep. Now I want to view the folder so you can see what's in this folder, okay? And look at what's right up at the top. Remixing a speech at Ford's Theater, Louisiana Purchase, Rhetorical Triangle. Guys, check this out. Please check this one out. This was exciting. I had some teachers actually from the Literacy Council of Tyler that tried this out for me, and their students loved it. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but go check that out. Civil War letters, identifying different kinds of sentences. So these are some options, okay? Now here is where you change the name. If I want to change the name of my folder, I do it right here. And here is where I can get a description, and I've written, be sure to examine the support materials for the lesson plans, which are usually downloadable and printable, okay? So I want to stop here with folders. I do want to show you how to create a folder. I'm sorry. So let's create a new folder. Pretty simple, right? Add a new folder, name, practice, and I can't spell, sorry guys, when I'm rushed, okay? Just for fun. I have arthritis in my fingers, and sometimes they don't want to work. A lot of times they don't want to work. So save. So I have this practice folder, right? I just added it. But it's going to go bye-bye because I don't need it, and I don't have anything in it. So here we go. Bye-bye folder. All right, so you can decide how you want to create your folders, by the content, by your class, however you want to organize them, you can. All right, so I'm going to let Liz now take over, and I'm going to let her share. I think I need to pause share. Liz, take it away.
Thank you. And we do have some questions in the chat pod, lots of questions. So some of the questions are, can you share the links through text? And I've never tried it. I've only used it via WhatsApp, which is like the lowest level of bandwidth that you can use on a, that you can have. But I imagine that if you do have a smartphone, you are able to access the link and then share it that way. Annemarie, are you seeing my live page, the live web?
Yes, I am. And yes, and these are good questions, everybody. You can send the link through email. Yes, Nancy. Is there a tutorial that we can reference that shows us the how-tos? I'm not sure, but I can look that up for you, okay?
Yes, I
And you
just
can
looked it
email
up.
me.
If
Oh, you
you,
did?
yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom of the homepage of that
Uh-huh.
PBS Learning Media, there's a link that says instructional resources for your classroom. And then there's also professional development resources, guys.
Uh-huh.
Lots of great stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to go ahead and model. We have very little time left. So up here on the top right-hand corner next to my name, there is a drop-down arrow. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show you my tools. So I'm going to click on Tools. And
Hold on a minute. I want to address this. Delia is asking a great question. Delia, if you are a Texas adult educator and you have access to the PD portal, I did 2 Tech and Tells on PBS Learning Media. But Delia, I am available if you want to do a training for staff, depending on when it is. So is Liz. But these are available in the PD portal as a Tech and Tell. But Delia, that's awesome to hear that. Go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
okay, so here I am under Tools, and this might look familiar because Annemarie was under the Favorites section before. And so, you know, this is where, remember that nurse practitioner that I had saved earlier? This is where it's at, and I have not attached it anywhere. So if I just simply click on that, I can add it to a folder, and I could say, well, I want to add it to, these are the folders I have. I have my citizenship folder, security for my IET class.
You know what, Liz? I'm
Yes.
sorry. I think we see your PowerPoint. I don't think
Uh-oh,
we're on. Are we on the live? No, no, no. Here we are. There's just a delay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that's
Now we
okay.
can see it.
So
Okay,
you
go
do see
ahead.
my folders?
Yep, I see your folder.
Okay, perfect. So I do have these 4: citizenship, security, ESL for professionals. Those are for those students that have a degree in another country. And then I have one labeled new folder, so I must have just accidentally clicked on that. But if I wanted to add this resource, I could add it to my ESL for professionals, save update, and then I can see down here that I've added it to this folder. But what I really want to show you is the tools section on the left-hand side. When I click on the tools, there are 4 tools that I can use at my disposal. There's a lesson builder where you can curate your own links, your own content. If you have those go-to worksheets, if you have I don't know, maybe a fill in the blank that you created or a picture, you can upload that. You can upload it and create your own material, and you can choose to share it publicly, or you can just have it privately for your own private setting. So that is really great. I tried it, but I haven't used it formally in a classroom setting. And then you have the storyboard. Storyboard is simply a panel of, I think it's 6 boxes, and you can upload pictures and add text so that you and or your students can narrate a story in visually. I tried using it, but I found it to be a little cumbersome, especially when students are trying to navigate a new software or a new site. I didn't find it very user-friendly. Maybe as a teacher, I would recommend it, but maybe not for the learner level. You really have to judge your students' technology expertise. Then I have the quiz maker. And so here you have the opportunity to create true and false, multiple choice, fill in the blank. And I'm going to go ahead and model one of the quizzes. I'm not going to model, I'm going to show you one of the quizzes that I created. This is for my ESL for Professionals class and for my citizenship class. I'm going to click on that, and you can see it's taking a little while.
Liz, we have 1 minute left.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Okay.
okay.
So I'm just going to go ahead and just show that really quickly so you could see it. And you could look at it so this is the quiz, here's the questions, and then my students can answer it. But I also want to take you back to the other tool that is available, which is, which is the puzzle maker. And so I'm not going to show you that right now, but I am going to just pause to see if there are any questions that we can answer with the remaining time that we have left. So any questions from anyone? And I'm looking here in the chat pod. There's never enough time. I know. But that means that we hopefully found it engaging, right? And you can always contact us. There are those resource sheets that you can access these folders. So whatever we curated today, they're yours. You don't have to shop around or navigate or anything. And so yes, Annemarie's email, I'm gonna go ahead and add it to the chat pod once again. And I don't think it's sharing with everyone. I'm posting in the chat pod, but I'm not sure if anyone's seeing it. So thank you, Annemarie. Those are our emails there. And then of course you can follow me on Twitter, but we want to hear from you. Let us know what kind of questions you might have. Always email us. We'll answer your questions. And we just want to thank you for joining us today. Annemarie? Annemarie, you're muted.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, my humble heart, we appreciate you wanting to spend 75 minutes with us. We are here for you. We both have a teacher's heart. We always will. And we want to just thank you. And remember, there are tech and tells in the PD portal on this topic if you want to go back and review everything that you've seen. Reach out to us. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful conference and stay AL strong, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.